But it's funny, when it was time to photograph this recipe, I had my stylist hired for the day. My oven broke. The galette you see in this cookbook, I made it at my neighbor's house, and I walked it through the yard into my kitchen where I shoot my recipes.
This is Taste. I'm your host, Matt Rodbard. Sally McKinney is the creator of the wildly popular website Sally's Baking. She's known for providing clear, concise instructions, tips, and tutorials to make every recipe approachable for home bakers of all skill levels. On this episode, we talk about her great new cookbook, Sally's Baking 101, and what she's excited to bake this fall. I hope you enjoy it. And at the top of the show, it's the return of Three Things, where Eliza and I talk about what is exciting us in the world of restaurants, cookbooks, and the food world as a whole. Eliza, we are back with Three Things. It's been forever. How are you?
I'm good. I'm refusing to admit that summer is almost over.
Summer ends in the 20th of September.
That's what the Farmer's Almanac says. But some of us in this room who like to eat apples, I think, are a little quick to draw on the fall front.
Oh, fair enough.
Not to name names, but
Okay. So we have a lot to talk about. I feel like I just haven't seen you, and I think we did some traveling, but do you want to start with Three Things?
Yeah, I've been doing some really fun restaurant meals here in New York. I think that especially August is a really great time to go to new restaurants. A lot of people are out of town. It's easier to get seated. And I went to I Cavallini, the new Four Horsemen restaurant, which was really special. And I'm happy to report that if you, for some reason, can get off work and get in line at 4:30, before the restaurant opens at 5, it's very easy to get seated without having a reservation, which is exactly what I did.
Great tip to definitely line up. And Nick Rotola, all signs point that he is opened up. It's a new phase and a new era in his career.
Yeah, and I think the restaurant is great. They're doing a lot of really special Italian dishes. They're doing something that I had at Four Horsemen in the past, which is called gnocco fritto, which is these pillows of fried dough that they have a melt in the mouth kind of shaved cured ham on top. Very satisfying to bite into. They're doing farfallone, which is giant bow tie pasta, basically, with Calabrian chili butter and smoked pancetta. It's kind of the elevated version of the pantry meal that I would make myself at home late night. And even the vegetables are really great. I had a chilled cucumber dish, which has a colatura de alici.
Yeah.
It's an anchovy-based fish sauce. So it's a very cooling cucumber that has this kind of salty punch on the end. For dessert, melon sorbet, classic. I had a really nice meal there. I also chatted with my friend Kat Wang, who is in the kitchen at Four Horsemen. I was hey, is it making it easier for you guys? Is the line shorter or longer now that the new restaurant is open? She said, absolutely longer. It seems like people are coming to the block on Grand Street and sometimes even splitting up their group and getting in both of the lines at once to see where they can get in, which I would say is probably not the right way to handle that. I would just pick a line and wait it out and see, but it's exciting to see them growing.
I love that report from I Cavallini. I feel like you should definitely stick with one line. Don't try to play that game. I agree with you fully.
Yeah, I would do that at TSA maybe, but certainly not at a nice restaurant.
Yeah, that gnocco fritto sounds great. I'm heading to Emilia Romagna next week, so I'm gonna have some gnocco fritto myself.
Yeah, you'll have the real deal.
The real deal.
Back. What's your first thing?
My first thing is also on the New York City restaurant train, and I was doing some research for future episodes, and I have to say, Eliza, I went to 3 restaurants in one evening. It was under 3.5 hours, and it was so enjoyable, and I didn't feel crazy at the end of it.
Okay, what were the stops?
Okay, so the stops are this. I started at Eel Bar. I had never been there, and I had heard so much about it on the show from you, from many guests who in Taste Check have been there and showered with the praise. So Aaron Crowder is the chef and partner there in Servos, and really, really, really great meal. The pickled cucumber and anchovy gilda, the highest quality anchovies. I just loved this dish. It was probably my favorite, and it was one of the early courses. There was a cantaloupe and copa, which is their plan prosciutto and melon. And we have our cool melons now. I read in New York Magazine. Weiser's got to watch their back. I think he was probably using that one. And then the cannolis at the end, he's doing it with seasonal peaches stewed in cava with a little bit of light cream. And what a great restaurant. What a great vibe inside too.
Yeah, I really like the front bar area. When I went, I think the Gilda was one of my favorites just because I love an anchovy. But they also are doing these stuffed piquillo peppers.
Yeah.
That was good too.
Definitely had that too. Next stop, Servos. Hadn't been there in a long time. It's probably 21 or 2. I went there. Still one of the most uncomfortable restaurants in New York, I have to say.
Where did you sit?
I sat on the side on
the little table.
The little tables on the side. Those are, but whatever. It doesn't matter. The restaurant is really, really good. And I wanted to go and I went. And I had the cockles, which, to me, with a little bit of great sourdough, I love that. A bowl of cockles and some sourdough, perfect meal. I knew I had a third stop, so I wasn't going crazy. Highlight was definitely the sea bream, which I think they've done that hard-seared whole fish in different fish over the seasons, but sea bream was in season, and they were so clean, so perfect. What a great restaurant to have a few dishes and then head on to your next stop.
Yeah, I would say Servos is one of my all-time great date spots, especially if you sit at the bar.
It's a great bar. And we didn't sit at the bar. We sat at those little tables, and the bar is where you want to be because you can see the action too. That's what it's in, an open kitchen. You can see all the action. Incredible service at both of those restaurants. But I had a third stop. I made it to Bridges finally. Finally made it to Bridges. And I wanted to put eyes on Bridges because I've heard all these things about it. Some good, some bad, but mostly good. And I really, really, really think Helen Rosner nailed it in The New Yorker when she called it the gastronomic version of quiet luxury. Totally makes sense. I think Helen's a brilliant writer when it comes to these turns of phrases, and it was a great observation because, you've got this room that has a lot of very cool people in it, very fashiony. Ran into Andy Baragani having a birthday meal in the back room, and definitely a scene, which I love about New York City restaurants. It's all positive. I would never feel negative towards having a scene because that's why we dine in New York, especially downtown. I like the food a lot. I think that it was a Monday night, and it was a really casual service. And I thought a couple highlights was I finally had, obviously my first visit, the cured tuna dates and onions, which is I think one of their signatures these days. What a crazy pairing. Have you had that dish?
No, but I do feel like it's something I've heard people talk about.
It's a really, really great dish, and it has really nice ponzu on there. And I just think it's a really well thought through dish, and I would order it again. The highlight, though, was definitely the dessert. I had the Vinjon gelato, which I think Vinjon, when you have it in any form, really, it just is this flavor that takes you to crazy places. It's like distillery, winery, you're traveling, you're going to not New York, and it's like in this gelato form, it was just exceptional. And I really enjoyed these 3 restaurants. And to be honest, and especially late summer, into even early fall, you can book these restaurants. You can do that 1, 2, 3. I wasn't using Flex or Context to get these. I think I was just using Resy. So go out to these restaurants and hit a couple up. You don't have to order everything. And it's a great way to catch up on New York City's dining scene. What's your next thing?
I'll keep the New York City restaurant recs going because I got to go to Bong, which is the new Khmer Cambodian restaurant from the pop-up Krung Cambodia.
Yeah.
It opened in Crown Heights, I think just over a month ago. And I have been waiting for this restaurant to open probably for years. I have been loving going to the pop-up when it was around. Even during the pandemic, I remember going to some random building in Crown Heights and picking up some food that had been prepared. I think Cha, who's the chef, with Chapi, Alexandro Chaparro, are just such a great duo, and it's such a fun restaurant to go to. It's in the old Ursula space, so it's not very large if you've been there before, but there's a lot of energy packed into it, I would say, and also some tables out in front. And I just had so many special dishes. I had, I think, the best corn dish that I've had all summer, which I eat corn every single day that I can in the summer. They do a whole fish with herbs and different dipping sauces. They're even doing calamari stir-fried with salted duck egg, all really special. And then the dessert is coming from Mina Park, who does the Pop-Up 99 here in New York, which is mostly kind of cream cake style pop-up. She's doing a dessert corn cake right now on my corn crusade a little more. That was like my favorite corn dessert. I loved it so much. Also, as of recording, I would say that Chow, who's like the main chef at Kron Cambodia, who was 9 months pregnant when I was in the restaurant, had the baby.
Okay.
The baby is healthy and born, and now there's like a whole other side project that they're working on, I guess, together. But I think it's really special to get to eat at restaurants in New York for a long enough period of time that you can, go to a pop-up, be able to support it, and then see it have like their own space to really kind of root in and build something. And I think it's just a special place to go.
I can't wait to visit there.
Yeah, that's bong, which is a Khmer word for like friend or like a familiar greeting for someone.
And Matthew Schneider wrote a very positive review.
Yes.
And I loved, obviously, New York Mag does terrific work, and they have the photo GIF, firing at the top, and you can see the vibe in the room. It's amazing.
Yeah, my friend Dominique, who is one of the people I ate with at dinner, is in that photo, and she has been to Bong 3 times since they've opened, which is a feat because it's pretty hard to get their reservations. I think they open at midnight, I believe, 20 days out. What's your next thing?
My next thing is a novel. It's the debut from Jason Diamond. It's called Kaplan's Plot. Jason's a friend. He's written for Taste, and we've known each other for a very long time. And I'm having him on the show soon, so we'll talk more about this novel. But I read it very quickly. I wish I could have read it slower, to be honest, because it was that good. I just love when novels, you just don't want them to end, and this one ended way too soon. Jason's story is a crime thriller based in Chicago in the 1920s, though it's a generational novel with a more modern day narrative. The story is essentially about a character named Yitz Kaplan, who is a immigrant to America, comes from Ukraine, and he is without parents and kind of figuring it out in the Maxwell Street neighborhood of Chicago, which anyone who knows Chicago is the Jewish quarter, Jewtown, called many things, and just a place that Jason brings to light. Absolutely, for the first time I've read any novel that this neighborhood has been portrayed this way. Elijah Mendez is the grandson of Yitz Kaplan, and he's the more modern day protagonist, and there's a great narrative there. Jason and I will talk about the food, but I have to call out wonderful scenes from Manny's Deli, which is a really famous deli in Chicago that my father went to as a kid and really is still operating today. And Jason, obviously, as a food writer, but also a novelist and writes about culture, just nails all the details here. It's a remarkable work. It really gives a lot of Boardwalk Empire. So if you followed that show on HBO about a decade ago, it's kind of the same era. It's still the gangsters of that era. And I just think I'm so impressed by this novel. I hope everyone reads it. I loved it.
Yeah, congrats to Jason on the debut novel. That's huge.
Yeah. What's your last thing?
My last thing is just, I think, a really genius idea. I've been going to a lot of block parties.
Yeah.
It's classic Brooklyn summer move. And at a couple of them, I've seen this small business called Greensicle, which is a green juice popsicle stand.
Yes. Smart.
It's really so smart, and I don't know why I haven't seen this elsewhere before. My favorite flavor that I had is basically like the ginger turmeric, like energy shot kind of juice, but in frozen popsicle form. But they also do like a classic green juice. They do one with beet. I think it's a really cool, like, small Brooklyn business, and you can follow them on social media and see like what other block parties they're gonna be at. But I don't know. I have high hopes. I feel like I could see this being in Erewhon or Whole Foods or something one day.
In those cool little sleeves that you get from like a cool cooler.
Exactly.
And,
it's like an Otter
places.
Pop,
Otter
like ice pop style. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, totally.
The long, skinny guys. Very nice, especially when it's hot out.
I love that you can get juice and get your greens and all your, your probiotics in the frozen popsicle form. It's so smart. No one wants to just take a shot.
I mean, I do like to do that because it feels invigorating when you have that ginger like hitting your esophagus. But I think the popsicle form is so fun, especially for summer.
Nice call. I can't wait to check that one out.
What's your last thing?
My last thing is it's a shout out to Traverse City, Michigan. I was able to attend the first Traverse City Food and Wine Festival, and it was a major hit. I got to share the stage with Anthony Porosky, who is incredible. Mm-hmm. I got to vibe with him and his partner and their dog, and I love those guys, and I hope to hang with them in the future. I also shared the stage with Mei Lin and Sarah Welsh, two tremendous chefs who've appeared on Top Chef and various shows. We talked about the behind the scenes of reality television. I'm going to run the Antoni interview on This Is Taste at some point. Just a terrific interview. But Traverse City food was on fire. I hadn't been there in a couple of years. I've been going there since I was very young. It's in northern Michigan near the Leelanau Peninsula, just one of the most beautiful spots in all America. And a couple shout outs restaurant-wise. Common Goods Bakery, which is doing great lamination. They do Danishes with, of course, the regional cherries. You've heard, I'm sure, of Traverse City cherries. They're like the main product from there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they also are doing just really terrific, like all day cafe cuisine, like kind of Italian inspired. And the last one, and I know you'll appreciate this, somebody who spent time in the Midwest, Mode's Bum Steer. It is a classic Midwestern prime rib restaurant. Did you ever get a chance to go to one of those when you're in college? Or
no, and the whole time I was like, what is a bum steer?
So I had to Google that myself. So bum steers are like old cows or old steers, and there's a whole genre of restaurants that use bum steer in the naming convention of their restaurant. It's like goes back to the early 1900s in America.
Wow.
I was very curious about that myself. So, but the vibe inside is amazing. It's like prime rib restaurant, 1970s. Our server, wonderful woman, had been working there for 40 years.
Wow.
And this is one of the few restaurants in Traverse City that's open past 10. So I love that. I think Sarah Welsh had given me the recommendation, who's a local chef there. And the prime rib, I of course ordered the prime rib. It came with a wedge, of course, with ranch. Baked potato. I hadn't been asked about a baked potato in like a decade. Like, what do you want on your baked potatoes? Like, you're serving baked potatoes, of course, wrapped in foil. And the prime rib was served with creamed horseradish. So it was like a lot of like creme fraiche and horseradish like whipped up. It was really good. It was like in a carafe that you can like dip onto basically everything. What do you think?
Sounds so good. I love an institution. I think that's always such a great place to go when you're traveling, and you can really like sink into like what is the food history of this place. And I'm going to be thinking about creamed horseradish for a minute.
I love it. Well, thanks for sharing your 3 things.
You too.
We talk about health a lot on the show. Protein maxing is all the rage. We're on the NA beer train, of course. And probiotic sodas, some call those millennial Metamucil. But I want to talk about skin health for a second. Everybody should be thinking about skin health. It's important, and I look to OneSkin, the world's first skin longevity company, for a little help. Now, I've used OneSkin's OS1 hydrating sunscreen for walking around New York City in the blazing sun. I wish I had OneSkin on a recent 7 Pizzeria pizza crawl. Now, it wasn't just the roof of my mouth that got burned that day. And for the record, FNF and Upside are my NYC Slice picks. By focusing on the cellular aspects of aging, OneSkin keeps your skin looking and acting younger for longer. For a limited time, you can try OneSkin with 15% off using promo code TASTEPOD at oneskin.co. That's 15% off using code TASTEPOD. Recently in the show, we took a deep dive into the amazing world of Dijon mustard with help from our friends at Maille. Maille brings over 270 years of French craftsmanship to every jar of premium Dijon mustard. Since 1747, Maille has been perfecting the art of flavor, transforming everything from simple sandwiches to gourmet meals. Look for the "Oh my, it's a great talk about Dijon mustard" episode in the This Is Taste podcast feed. Sally McKinney, welcome to This Is Taste. Great to see you.
Great to see you too. So nice to meet you.
Well, we have a lot to cover. This book, Sally's Baking 101, it's not your first book, but it feels kind of like your first book.
It feels like my first book because I haven't written a book in 8 years, and I'm with a new publisher, and I feel like the pressure's on, and I was just really excited to write this book. I took so many years off of writing book to kind of grow my business and my knowledge in the kitchen and grow my family, and I was just ready for this big project.
I love it. It's a terrific book, and happy to have you here at Clarkson Potter. And
Yes.
and I want to ask you about, let's go back to 2011.
Okay.
And you're thinking about maybe posting online, posting a recipe. What's going through your head at that moment?
I was following some food blogs at the time, and I loved to bake in the kitchen. I kind of grew up in the kitchen. My mother and my grandmother kind of made everything from scratch. I grew up around it, baking and things like that. And when I was fresh out of college, I was working I worked at a restaurant first, and then I worked just in an office. I was an assistant to a team of financial advisors, and it was fine. Just a regular 9-to-5 job, not much creativity though.
Yeah.
And so I would find myself, going home and making cookies and cupcakes and brownies and those kinds of things to bring into my coworkers the next day.
Oh.
And then they would ask me for a recipe, and I would type it up or send it to them. And then I thought one day, wouldn't it be great if I could just put all of these somewhere online so I could just send people to the destination to get the recipe? And I, I started a little free blog account, and I put in my first recipe for peanut butter blondies.
Ooh, nice choice.
I love peanut butter.
Yeah,
Yep.
great kickoff recipe, Sally. I'm fully endorse that.
Oh yeah, with Reese's pieces, and so delicious. And I still have that up on my website today. 14 years later, and fun to look back on. And then the rest is kind of history. I started just publishing more and more, and I started. When I first started, I would just input recipes as if it were just like a little recipe diary of sorts. And over the years, I started, treating it more like a business and a regular publishing cadence.
Well, I mean,
Yes.
the business grew because the audience grew. So
Yes.
how did people start finding you? Because I know your community is rabid. They love what you do and much respect. Like
Yeah.
that is something that is very difficult.
Yeah.
And I love that you have this very special and robust community.
I know. I am so lucky. It's been so wonderful to connect with so many bakers around the world, a lot of home bakers. Everyone is super vocal. I receive emails every day. I mean, my team will attest to this every day about special memories people have made making my recipes,
Yeah.
some really heartfelt stories. And I consider myself so lucky to do this. And truly, and I say this a lot, but hearing from readers and having them share their stories with me just kind of is motivation to keep going and reminds me why I'm doing this. And it's to teach others and connect with others and learn from each other. I
Yeah.
learn a lot from my readers too. And I consider myself really, really lucky. And I think, it all started from that one silly little decision to publish a recipe online with honestly no thought whatsoever.
It's so organic. I love that. There's no
Yes.
agency telling you what to do.
No, not at
You're
all.
doing your. Let me ask you, Sally, why are people baking right now?
I think it just is it's a safe space. It's something that brings just genuine joy. It's also like very methodic, and it's nice to follow something and read instructions and bake something that is going to bring yourself and other people joy. I mean, I have never had someone turn down a dessert. I mean, I literally just brought in dessert to all of you guys.
Did. It was a muffin with zucchini that
Yeah,
you grew. It was
I
delicious.
did,
With chocolate
yes.
chips inside. I loved it.
Yes, thank you. Yes. And so it just brings people joy. It's just a happy, wonderful thing to share with others. And I've always felt that way, especially when life gets loud and chaotic and stressful. It's nice to have that comfort in the kitchen.
It's really a wonderful sentiment to know. It's like the instructions are there. It's like a project, and I think that soothes the brain when there's crazy things happening in all elements of life.
I agree. Whether you're making just a really easy cookie recipe or a more intense baking project,
Yeah.
they can both bring you joy in different ways.
So, Sally, take us into the test kitchen. I mean, how do you develop your ideas, and how does it start? And then where do you go with the testing? Because I know you test all these recipes many times to get to the perfect recipe to publish.
Yeah.
A lot of work there.
Yes.
A lot of work.
It's a lot of work. And I feel like it's definitely grown over the years as I've been able to expand my team. And we sometimes coming up with a recipe, it's usually inspiration from other things I'm seeing online or requests from readers or something that I think can fill in the gaps on my website. And then also in my book. And I, start researching a recipe, or I'm taking information that I've learned from developing a previous recipe, and I work off of that. And then lots of tests, lots of various tests, lots of Post-it notes, and lots of just little recordings of what we did, and lots of different drafts and lots of mistakes.
Yeah.
And, I have this wonderful team, and we work together to kind of build off of each other and to create what we think is going to be the best of the best, and lots of recipe flops along the way. And I really like sharing those with my readers. I like to share with them the test process and the baking disasters.
Give us one.
Okay. The pear tarte tatin. And we tested multiple variations last year, and usually it's made with puff pastry. And in testing, we found that pears are just so overly juicy. I mean, deliciously juicy. And we made a lot of under-baked ones, over-baked ones, and we decided brown sugar is the best sugar to use with the pears. And then we did, instead of a puff pastry, we did more like a pie crust and, flip it upside down. It's absolutely delicious. But the test recipes were quite underwhelming.
Well, that's the beauty of a cookbook.
Yes.
That you've gone through all those painful steps to get to that perfect version.
Yes.
But before we get to the book, what's been the biggest hit recipe this year online for you?
Okay, so I would say that I made a no-churn pistachio ice cream recipe a couple months ago because, the Dubai chocolate is kind of all over the internet, absolutely delicious. I wanted to kind of play on a flavor off of that. And so I created a no-churn style ice cream, pistachio flavored, ground up pistachios, some almond extract, vanilla extract in there, and then swirled in some chocolate ganache. So you have that delicious chocolate
Very cool.
swirl with a really easy pistachio flavored ice cream. The flavor is amazing and it's very simple to make.
I love the combination.
Yeah.
I feel pistachio is big this year.
It is big this year, and I feel like it's a very underrated flavor. I mean, I've made pistachio cake that I love pistachio cake, pistachio cupcakes. I've done lots of pistachio cookies. There's a pistachio crinkle cookie in the cookbook.
That's great.
Yeah, so it's definitely one of my favorite flavors to play around with.
So let's get to the book. This is not your first book. You've had a couple others, but this is your first with Clarkson Potter. What did you want to say in Sally's Baking 101 that you didn't say before?
Well, I think my first 3 books, I love them. They were such fun projects, but they were very early in my career.
Yeah.
I wanted to wait because I wanted to create a book that was more like a foundational baking book, and I knew I needed more practice in the kitchen to get there. I knew I needed to learn just different methods of baking, different recipes, and I wanted to do that in time. And luckily with COVID, that gave me a lot of time. I was also able to grow my family in the last 8 years. So lots of time at home to kind of hone in on different baking techniques. And I knew it was time a couple years ago when I wrote my proposal. I really wanted this to be a foundational cookbook, one that covers a big range of baking categories. So unlike my other books, this one has some savory baking recipes in there, lots of homemade breads, and of course, all the other delicious baking categories like brownies and cookies and cakes.
It covers the range.
It does, yes. So, and I knew that I wanted to write a book that kind of matched where I am today in my baking journey and baking career.
So we share an editor, Susan Roxborough, and she wrote me when she knew we were chatting and said, you were so meticulous in the manuscript and working on the details. All credit to you. Susan has a lot of authors, and she said this was noteworthy. And I want to hear about just like the making, like the manuscript process, because a little behind the scenes, because I think that was noteworthy. Susan is like such a terrific editor, and I love to hear that. Yeah. I love to hear an author who's like digging into the Word docs.
Yes. So I couldn't have done that without Beth, my recipe co-writer. So I'm going to take you kind of through like how we would do it. So we would test a recipe, and I would just kind of be doing my thing in the kitchen, and Beth would be the one who puts it into the Clarkson Potter format for me. And then I would go in and add my, little Sallyisms, my little,
Sure, your
my
voice.
my intro, my voice in there and everything. And so I couldn't have gotten there without Beth creating the starting point. So she's
Shout out to Beth.
she's
Shout
the
out-
best.
Yeah.
And
She's in the studio.
Yes.
So where
Hi,
we're like
Beth.
giving her, the video is only on you, but if we had
Yes.
like the full Beth would
Yes.
be here.
She's
Yeah.
the best. And I couldn't have done this without her. And we are very meticulous. And I don't think that we would be at this level of just being so detailed and thorough if not for the experience of working on my website. And so not only did I learn so much more in the kitchen, I also learned in the past 8 years since my previous book how to write recipes better. And because it's a certain skill and a certain craft. And we've had a lot of practice of, here's what to expect. The batter is going to be creamy. If a few lumps are okay, and just kind of helping walk readers through exactly what they should expect. And I think that gives a lot of, that helps give a lot of confidence, especially if you're a beginner baker. But the manuscript was big and very, very challenging and overwhelming. But I had a nice long deadline. I asked for a long deadline because I really wanted to take my time with this book. I wanted it to be the best that it could be. And lots of back and forth. It ended up being 80,000 words.
Yeah, right.
So it really had to be pared down. It was a big one. And I think, we did it, and we ended up getting inside the cover exactly what we wanted to be in there. And I couldn't be happier with it.
I'm really thrilled for you. When you have that feeling about a book, it's there's nothing like it, that you're just like, it's out in the world and you're proud of it. There's some cool behind the scenes photos in the book. And what's it like on the photo shoot with all of these? I mean, baking photo shoots can be challenging.
Yes. Shooting a baking cookbook is particularly difficult because certain baked goods take a very long time. Like, let's say you're making a pie from scratch. It's not like making a quick batch of cookies or a salad or something like that. It's definitely a lot more time goes into it. And especially if you want it to look absolutely perfect for your photos in your book, it takes a lot of time, and often quite a few pies to make sure you get that picture perfect one. And of course, with baked goods, things have to be fresh in order for them to look their best. So shooting this book took 10 to 12 months. It wasn't, and I did it out of my home.
I know. That's the cool part about it. I saw the photos.
Yes, it's a little crazy.
Yeah.
But I really wanted to take my time with shooting the book because I knew in order to produce my best work, I needed to have a lot of time to do that. And I also wanted to take advantage of the produce that was in season. So let's say, I have a peach mascarpone pie recipe in the book, and I wanted to wait until we had those delicious fresh peaches in season. So we shot that in the summertime. And then over the winter, we needed some fresh cranberries. And I have a really hard time finding those in my area off season. So we shot the book throughout all seasons. And there were some reshoots because I feel like I'm a perfectionist, but definitely worth it. The house was chaos. It was madness. But I made so many great memories, and I also couldn't have done it without, I hired 2 stylists for this. I have a food stylist, Diana, and a prop stylist, Julietta, and they helped bring the photos to life. And I look at this book, and I'm just so proud of what we created. And I wanted to include those behind-the-scenes pictures because I want everyone to know that this was such a team project.
It looks like it, and the vibe felt like it was really right just looking at those photos.
We had fun.
So let's talk about the cover image. It wasn't what ended up on the cover, which I love, and there's a story behind it. There wasn't the original photo. It was a swap at some point. Tell us about that.
So the cover recipe is a peanut butter baked Alaska pie, which
So
is just
great.
such a fun recipe. It's kind of unique and different. And the cover of the recipe was supposed to be something chocolate. So it was either going to be a chocolate pie that's in there, a chocolate mousse pie, or a chocolate ganache cake, which are both so beautiful. And we knew that going in. There was a lot of back and forth about what would be on the cover. And I remember shooting this peanut butter baked Alaska pie, and shooting ice cream is very difficult because you only have so much time.
Yeah.
And I'm shooting this recipe not ever realizing that this would be the cover. And I remember the prop stylist, she threw in, there's some milk in the background and a really pretty linen, and it's on this beautiful handmade plate from a local potter. Her name's Kate. She's wonderful. And it was just like a very fun photo. And then we moved on. We shot the next recipe. Not a ton of thought went into it. And then we, are going back and forth about the cover. And Mary Sarah, who designed the cover, she presented us with some options. And I remember always coming back to this one.
Yeah.
And I was like, I was not expecting this to be the cover, but I love it.
So do I. And I love that it's a baked Alaska spin.
Yes.
I love that it feels like a fully American recipe, and it's like unexpected. I mean, there's ganache on covers all the time.
Yes.
It's unexpected. Very cool.
Yeah, so I know I'm thrilled with it. It's delicious. It has a pretzel crust. It's made in a springform pan. You can use really any flavor ice cream, but I love peanut butter, as we've discussed. And then it has a meringue topping that's toasted. It's so good.
Yeah, the toast on it looks beautiful.
Yes, thank you.
Well, that's some behind the scenes chat.
Yes.
I want to get into some recipes because there's some really cool ones here.
Yes.
You have a recipe, the only carrot cake recipe you need. Sally, those are some fighting words.
They are some fighting words, and I stand firm on them.
Okay.
This is my absolute favorite carrot cake recipe, and it's a recipe that's also on my website. I developed it 10 years ago. I think it was 2015 when I published it on my website, and I am so proud of it because it is my dad's favorite cake, and he is a carrot cake, like he knows. Yes, he knows his carrot cake. It's his favorite dessert. It's my favorite cake. We call it our birthday cake.
Oh, so cool.
So I have it every year for my birthday, and it's so deliciously tender and moist. It's spiced perfectly. I add pecans. You can do walnuts instead. And it's a great cake. I like making it a day ahead of time so the cream cheese frosting kind of seeps into those layers. It's so good. The flavor's on point.
I bet it looked. That's my favorite cake too.
Yeah.
So we share that.
Okay.
I'm gonna go to like one that's not like it's not a classic baked item, but it seems really interesting. It's a French toast casserole.
Yes.
Which I think is cool. It's very much a utility recipe.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about it's cool. It's a cool idea.
Yeah, so a French toast casserole is always kind of my go-to for when we're entertaining brunch or having guests over for breakfast because it's one you can make ahead of time, so I can prep it ahead of time. And I have a French toast casserole. I have a couple of recipes on my website, but I wanted one for the book that I could create different flavors off of. So this is a French toast casserole 3 ways. It kind of carries you through the seasons. There's one where we add fresh blueberries. There's another one that has gingerbread flavor. It all starts with the same recipe. And then there's just a classic one with a delicious crumb topping. I think they all have crumb toppings on it, but which just adds that extra dose of deliciousness. But classic French toast flavors there, brown sugar, cinnamon, vanilla, and you can make it with homemade bread, store-bought bread, whatever you have on hand. It's very simple, but it's so satisfying.
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay, what's one recipe that you feel you worked on the hardest that's in this book?
I mean, there's lots of recipes in there that took a lot of work, but one in mind particular is a caramelized onion, fig, and goat cheese galette. And the flavors are outstanding. I didn't think I would love this one that much, but I really wanted an extra savory recipe in there. It's sweet and savory. But a lot of, testing, we made a crust there's some whole wheat flour in there and some dried thyme. So the crust itself has an extra layer of flavor, a little nutty, very deliciously herby, wonderful. And then caramelized onions, fresh figs, delicious during the fall. But it's funny, when it was time to photograph this recipe, I had my stylist hired for the day. My oven broke.
Oh my gosh. That's the one thing about shooting at home
Yes.
that you can't avoid.
That's
sometimes.
a little bit of an issue. So the day before my oven broke, there was no time to get it fixed. And so I had to, the galette you see in this cookbook, I made it at my neighbor's house and I walked it through the yard into my kitchen where I shoot my recipes. And so that's just always a funny backstory. We always think
What a
about
nice
that.
neighbor to let
They
you
are
have
the
it.
best.
Yeah.
Yes. So,
I love that.
yeah, but that recipe is definitely one of my favorites. The flavors are outstanding. And I've been making, since we developed the recipe a couple years ago, I've been making it every fall. So I'm excited for everyone to try it.
Yeah, it's a great story.
Yes.
So I know it's crazy to think about fall baking right now. It's like 100 degrees outside, literally. But we are approaching fall and then the holiday season. So how do you think about your holiday baking plan? Is there like a few recipes you think that should be on our holiday tables?
Absolutely. I mean, when I think of the holidays, I always think of some core flavors in there. You've pumpkin, love gingerbread, peppermint. I mean, there's so many good ones.
Oh, yeah.
So I always I always kind of start with those flavors and build off of them. So, I mean, if we're talking Thanksgiving, definitely pumpkin pie. That's on my list every single year. Apple pie, which is my favorite dessert of all time. So I always make those two pies for Thanksgiving. And then Christmas. So I always think of Christmas cookies way in advance because I do this really fun thing on my website. It's called Sally's Cookie Palooza. So I publish 10 new cookie recipes in a row. So we're always working on these cookies in summer, which is funny because right now we're talking about this in summer. And I, start with those base flavors and I kind of add some really fun flavors in there. So I think this year we've already tested a chocolate chip orange ricotta cookie.
Very
with
cool.
an orange glaze on top. I'm excited about that one. We're going to do an almond melt-away cookie, which is this really tender cookie with almond extract, almond glaze, toasted almonds on top. I think I want to do a peppermint bark brownie. So deliciously fudgy brownie, a layer maybe of chocolate ganache on there, some peppermints, maybe candy canes. I haven't tested that one yet or anything.
But it's like, this is like the early days. This is how you think about recipes. You're like flavor profiles, maybe some products to put in there.
Exactly.
Smart.
And I have a running list in my notes app on my phone. Like if I think of it throughout the year, I write it down. I'm like, okay, I'll revisit this when it's done. Yeah.
That's spoken like a true cookbook author. I always have those notes lists.
Yes.
Well, Sally, on This Is Taste, we ask guests about their certain taste. So to close this interview, here's a little rapid fire, fast and furious taste check. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
The best fruit.
Apples.
The worst vegetable.
Beets. Ugh.
Really? No, never a beet.
Oh, no, I never a beet. I am not a fan of beets.
The best dessert. Tough, I realize, but you have to answer this.
Salted caramel apple pie.
Yeah, I knew you'd say apple, but then you were specific about salted caramel. In the book?
Oh, yeah. I have an apple pie in the book and with the salted caramel that you can put on top, of course.
When you're craving fast food, where are you going?
Chick-fil-A, because that's what my kids always want.
Oh, yeah, kids indexing big with the kids.
Yes.
That's no secret, but definitely.
Yes.
Your favorite city outside America to visit for food?
Oh, anywhere in Italy.
Yeah.
Anywhere in Italy. I've been there twice. I mean, the food there is unparalleled. But I was actually talking to my coworkers about this, and I've never been to Paris, and that is where we're going to go. I mean, we just wrote this book. Maybe we'll make a trip there next year.
I think that sounds like a great plan.
Right? Obviously.
I heard they have some bakeries there.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know.
Last one, your favorite sandwich?
Ooh, a BLT, but with avocado.
Oh, yeah.
So, what do they call that? A blat?
Yeah, exactly. I like that.
Yes.
Always with an avocado.
Yeah.
Sally, this has been so fun. Thank you so much for joining This Is Taste.
So fun, Matt. Thank you.
This Is Taste is hosted and produced by Eliza Barbanel and me, Matt Rodbard. The show is edited by lead producer Clayton Gumbert and supervised by Pat Stango, Director of Media Production and Development at Penguin Random House. Thanks to Shalia Harris and the production team at Penguin Random House. Theme music by Steve Rydell. Logo and guest illustrations by Ellie Skurzat. Visit Taste online at tastecooking.com and make sure to subscribe to our newsletter to keep updated on all cool things in the world of taste.